September we met, I could tell by your smile. You hadn't been with a good girl like me in a while.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Black and White Debate Program with me, Sean Aristio, as your host. Now, could the team please put up the display? So, our theme for today is which one is the best to support good corporate governance implementation between piercing the corporate veil doctrine versus the business judgment rule doctrine. Now, let's watch this video as the opening session to get a glance of the example of these two doctrine consequences.
Mantan Direktur Utama PT Pertamina Karen Agustiawan ditetapkan sebagai tersangka kasus dugaan korupsi pembelian aset milik Rock Oil Company di Australia. Kasus ini disebut merugikan negara senilai lebih dari 500 miliar rupiah. Pihak Kejaksaan Agung menyebut bahwa keputusan pembelian perusahaan minyak di Australia itu merugikan negara 568 miliar rupiah. Jaksa Agung Muda Pidana Khusus mengatakan pada 2009 lalu, PT Pertamina mengakuisisi aset milik Rock Oil Company di Australia yang bernilai 31 juta dolar Amerika. Pembelian aset di Australia itu ditaksir merugikan negara 568 miliar rupiah. Dalam pelaksanaannya, penyidik menemukan adanya penyimpangan dalam pengusulan investasi yang tidak memberikan manfaat atau keuntungan bagi PT Pertamina dalam rangka penambahan cadangan dan produksi minyak nasional. Semula Kejaksaan Agung telah memeriksa 67 saksi dan menetapkan BK, mantan pejabat Direktorat Hulu Pertamina, sebagai tersangka. Lalu dari hasil penyidikan lanjutan, Jaksa menetapkan mantan Direktur Utama Pertamina, Karen Agustiawan, sebagai tersangka.
Ketika proses akuisisi itu ada hal yang menyimpang atau bertentangan dengan hukum prosesnya. Sedikit saya sampaikan, ada prosedur misalnya harus ada feasibility study-nya, harus diteliti dulu. Itu belum tuntas, proses pembelian aset itu dilaksanakan. Kemudian secara intern, secara organisasi, yang seharusnya itu kan mendapat persetujuan dari Dewan Komisaris, tanpa persetujuan itu transaksi tetap dilaksanakan. Kami masih melakukan langkah-langkah pendalaman mencari alat bukti sesuai yang disyaratkan dengan KUHP.
Tak berhenti sampai di situ, Kejaksaan Agung telah menetapkan 4 tersangka kasus korupsi investasi pembelian aset Rock Oil Company yang menyeret Karen. Tersangka lainnya diantaranya GP selaku Chief Legal Counsel and Company PT Pertamina, kemudian FS yang merupakan mantan Direktur Keuangan PT Pertamina.
Okay. So, today's debate will be on which doctrine is the best for enhancing good corporate governance implementation in a company. Among us now standing to opposite members representing those two different doctrines. The first team as the opposing party is the ladies team representing the first doctrine on piercing the corporate veil. Good evening, Mbak Shiska Valentina and Mbak Adlina Nadila.
Good evening.
And the second team representing the defendant for the second doctrine on business judgment rule. Good evening, Mas Arif Kurniadi and Mas Hamzah Basari.
Good evening, Pak Sean.
Good evening, Pak Sean.
Before we hear from them about these two doctrines, we need to understand that the good corporate governance implementations are aiming for sustainable growth through tariff. In order to understand that further, could the team please put up the slide? Okay, so basically the good corporate governance is aiming for a sustainable growth by achieving tariff, transparency, accountability, responsibility, independence, and fairness. Now, the first doctrine, piercing the corporate veil, aim to hold responsibility down to the personal level if something goes wrong in the company's conduct. On the other hand, the second doctrine prevent that from happening because they emphasizes that business judgment rule is strictly limit the responsibility upon the company level. It couldn't be held down to the personal level since a corporation is basically a separate legal entity. So, thank you for the slide. Now, based on the opening video as the example, I'd like to open the chance to comment on this doctrine in responsorial manners. To the opposing honorable ladies first, what could you say about this, Mbak Siska and Mbak Dila?
Okay, thank you, Shan. From the first time I heard about the information on the news, it's already clear, yeah, there is an ultra virus, which there is an action from somebody beyond his or her authority was done on purpose. So the consequence is phishing corporate fail has to be conducted to stay on the GCG.
Okay, your opening position mentions about ultra-virus activity. So let's bring it to the defending honorable gentleman. What would you say on the opposing honorable ladies' opening position, Mas Arif and Mas Hamzah?
Ya, Mas Arif, please, Mas Arif.
Okay, thank you, Pak Shan. So, based on the business characteristic that are unpredictable and cannot be determined with certainty, the decision of the board of directors in a company activity cannot be contested by anyone. The board of directors of the company is like a doctors, we can say like that. If a patient in an emergency situation that needs help, then he still has to make a decision. If he just stay there without making any decision, then the board of directors will also risk being blamed. So it's the same as a doctor who should take action, but he doesn't take action. It's also the same. So back on the case, what Ibu Karen did was a business risk, and therefore it's not a criminal act. So that is should be protected because of the business judgment rule perspective and not personally held liable. Although at the end of the decision was financial loss for the company, including state-owned enterprises, which was partially being funded by the state capital, this is business risk,
So from the ladies, is there any further comment on this?
Okay, sorry. Mas Arif, yes, true, if the purpose is for the sake of the patient safety, we need to take action even though the success rate is still 50-50. But first of all, the family or relation from the patient have to agree and sign on the paper in order for the doctor to make a decision to execute. In Bu Karen case, related to the BMG block acquisition in Australia, investment agreement is the authority of the board of commissioners, not the authority of president director. Even though the nature of the business is hard to be predicted, but still cannot be referenced because it's clearly explained on the investment guidelines. So if the president director took action beyond his or her authority, it's clear to say as an aberration that violates the law. Moreover, if the impact of the decision caused losses until 500 billion rupiah, this can be a bad example for his or her subordinates. Especially, it's about the responsibility and accountability, Mas Arif.
Pak Hamzah, can you add, Pak?
Pak Hamzah, you're still muted.
Ya, well, Mbak Siska, Mbak Dila. Oke,
Well, Mbak Siska, Mbak Dila, we consider that in a dynamic business world, speed and accuracy must be present in making a policy. However, in making a policy, the precautionary principle must remain. And this decision is, of course, well considered. Even so, we assess there must be a risk in a business. Article 92 and Article 97 of Undang-Undang Number 40 of 2007 concerning limited liability companies or Undang-Undang Perseroan Terbatas related to the business judgment rule, in essence, stipulate that the board of directors cannot be held responsible just because of the wrong reason of deciding, mere error of judgment, or simply because of the company laws. This means that even if the company's directors are in a co-case, it's considered that there are mistakes in business decision and cause losses to the company or even to the state. Losses because of PT Pertamina is a state-owned company. According to the business judgment rule doctrine, the directors cannot be held accountable if the business risk is like this. Sentence in prison, people will no longer dare to take business risk. Mbak Siska, Mbak Dila.
Oke, Pak Hamzah.
Yeah.
It appears you're muted, Mbak Dila. Okay.
Okay. The principle of running a business is for the board of directors to be reliable and responsible. Now, I want to ask, who wants the business to suffer? Nobody. We have to prepare a strategy for prevention. Of course, we're choosing the right people as the BOD members. In our opinion, RUPS is not that effective to choose the reliable BOD. That's why we think piercing corporate veil is more effective to control the good corporate governance conducted properly. So I agree, there's a risk in every business. But it doesn't mean that the BOD are free from responsibilities without any investigation if there is an aberration on the procedures and effect on decision making, which cause losses. That's why Indonesian law already accommodates piercing corporate veil to ensure the one doing misconduct is personally held responsible. If everyone could easily hide behind business judgment rule to avoid responsibility, then good corporate governance implementation just will not be effective.
Okay, appreciate for your statement ya, Mbak Dila ya, Mbak Dila. But in our view, we can say like this ya. Business judgment rule doctrine alone is actually very clear ya, in regulating the fundamentals on how to manage the company within good corporate governance principles. So we should not easily enforce piercing companies veil ya, just for the sake of ensuring responsibility of the decision makers. The related legal justification for preventing piercing companies veil, it can be found in Undang-Undang number 40 ya, Article 97 point number 5 and Article 114 point number 5, which states the limitation on under what circumstances directors and commissioners can be held liable for their decisions or actions. First, the loss incurred is not due to their negligence. Second, the company is managed in a good faith and being prudent for the company's best interest. Yeah. Third, there is no conflict of interest, either direct or indirect, upon a managerial decision that incurred loss for the company. 4, the management has already taken actions to prevent loss or avoid loss continuation. Yeah, so if we use Bu Karen's case, it is not proven yet, yeah, whether there is any fraud or illegal code of conduct. Therefore, if there is no breach on those 4 aspects, enforcing piercing corporate veil so everyone could be held personally responsible for the sake of good corporate governance are actually just increasing the moral hazard and reduce the corporate governance effectiveness. Yeah, that's our point of view. Yeah.
Okay, but in this case, the company is state-owned enterprise that is affected and related to our country financially. In me and Mbak Siska's opinion, such rules would just make the BOD become resistant to the responsibility in decision-making. Then there's a probability the chairs will be full of bandits. I agree with the clauses you have mentioned. Now it's all about the proof from concrete data. That what Ibu Karen did is not comprehend the points that you mentioned. If there's a proof, then piercing corporate veil must be conducted because the purpose of this doctrine is for legal certainty for the part of the company and third party who experiences the loss. This is related to the fairness in good corporate governance.
Yep.
Okay, all right, Mbak Siska, Mbak Dila. It's not about that both of you are ladies, so we are gentlemen, should be calm down. Actually, we have to look deeper on the context.
Okay.
What kind of GCG breach are we dealing with? Not all GCG enhancement could be covered by business judgment rule doctrine. In case there are GCG breach due to illegal act, then emphasizing piercing corporate veil doctrine might revamp the GCG implementation in a company.
Okay, folks, though this is quite an interesting subject, but this is quite a heavy technical. Unfortunately, we have reached a time up limit, and we should draw conclusions on these 2 doctrines' importance on enhancing good corporate governance in corporations. So, in regards of the lesson learned and the conclusions, could please it be brought up to the slide? Okay, thank you. Now, since the target is sustainable growth through tariff, then both the doctrine here is equally crucial, so we cannot favor one rule over another. Both doctrine, either piercing the corporate veil and the business judgment rule, should be available to be implemented and executed when be needed. But when to appropriately emphasize this, whether it has to be first doctrine or second doctrine to be used in any case entails from good corporate governance issues, we have to see the proper context of it. If it is related to illegal wrongdoing, then the piercing corporate veil judgment could be implemented. So that's the end of our debate on which doctrine might be useful to enhance a good corporate governance implementations, and we hope we could learn something from these 2 doctrine importance. So thank you for both of the opposing team, Mbak Siska and Mbak Dila, and for the defending team, Mas Arif and Mas Hamzah, for your presence in this event. Thank you all for coming, and good night, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Pak.
Thank you.
Mbak Siska, Mbak Dila, good night.